I have bolts and a steel plate I'm going to have forever in my arm. I'm going to have to deal with this the rest of my life.
This is Alleah Taylor, a survivor of domestic violence.
She was attacked by her then boyfriend, Chad Wheeler. Taylor says the pair dated for 6 months.
At the hands of her ex-boyfriend, Chad Wheeler, pictured here. Wheeler is a former member of the Seattle Seahawks.
We were like best friends. We would babysit my nephew together, but then as time went on throughout the day, he started going downhill emotionally.
Taylor later told police it was the beginning of a manic episode.
According to CBS, Wheeler suffers from bipolar disorder, but what happened next nearly cost Taylor her life.
He stood up and he told me to bow down, and I asked him why, and he didn't respond. He just told me to bow down again, and I told him no, and he immediately grabbed my neck, and that's when things began.
For reference, via CBS, Taylor is just 5'9" and 145 pounds. Wheeler, a pro football player, towers over her, standing 6'7" and weighing 315 pounds.
When he grabbed my neck, he threw me on the bed, and I remember looking up at him and asking him, "Please stop, Chad, it's me." And I just immediately knew the look in his eyes. That was it.
So here's Taylor, attacked, choked, thrown onto a mattress, pleading and fearing the worst.
I had touched my face, and I looked down, and there was blood on my hand. And I remember getting up and running to the bathroom. Chad was standing by the bed, by the doorway, and he was sipping his smoothie. And was like, "Wow, you're still alive.
Please help me now. I'm gonna die."
So here's Taylor, helpless, whispering to police she fears the end of her existence because of her boyfriend. She says she still has to get herself checked for concussions from the attack from the former offensive lineman. The first, let's say, seismic moment Taylor registered as alarming was when Wheeler texted her he was cutting his hair despite how much he loved it. The Seattle Times quoted Taylor as saying this: "I came home and Chad was trying to play it off as if he kind of just cut his hair, but then as time went on throughout the day, he started going downhill emotionally. Once Taylor got into the bathroom and made the call, ESPN citing the police report wrote when police forced entry into the apartment shared by Wheeler and Taylor, she was crying in pain with her face covered in blood and her left arm swollen and limp against her body. She also had noticeable fingerprints on both sides of her neck, according to the report. Scans revealed a fractured humerus and dislocated elbow in Taylor's arm. According to the responding officers, the struggle to detain Wheeler was bleak. One officer said he began to understand the strength of Wheeler when all three responding cops piled on top of him, and it barely slowed Wheeler down. As the three of us, with a combined weight of about 700 pounds, were on top of Chad, I could feel him lifting his body up like he was pushing up to get away," one officer said. According to the police report, the cops said Wheeler was not cooperative, so they used a taser in an effort to detain him, but it had little to no effect. So I have a few questions now. The first is, the three officers see a bloodied and beaten woman who was nearly killed. They try to bring down a 300+ pound man. Then they try tasing him, but that doesn't work. Meanwhile, George Floyd was murdered over a counterfeit $20 bill. Sandra Bland was killed over a turn signal. Rayshard Brooks was killed sleeping in his car. Ahmaud Arbery was jogging. Tatiana Jefferson was playing video games with her nephew. Botham Jean was killed in his home for eating ice cream. But this white dude does not have excessive force on him. Here's another nugget. Where is Chad Wheeler's mugshot? You know, the police love to post these photos to demean minorities in this country at the drop of a hat. Yet we haven't seen Chad's. Why? Per ESPN, first-degree domestic violence assault is a Class A felony in Washington, while domestic violence unlawful imprisonment is a Class C. If convicted, Wheeler could be sentenced to 8 to 12 years in prison, according to prosecutors. Taylor answered yes, yes, when asked if Wheeler should be sentenced to prison.